right, so our next part is on the 5 pillars of Islam. I'll also explain a little how Islam works right here and how Islam spread just a little bit. So our first pillar of Islam is faith. Now, back up a little bit. These 5 pillars of Islam, in my opinion, have a lot of similarities to the Ten Commandments, in my opinion. So, let's start off with faith. The first one is faith, and it is the belief that there's one God only, and believe in God. That's a big deal because Muhammad and his people were polytheistic. They believed in more than one God. And Muhammad says, no, there's one God. Now, they do give God a name. They say that God's name is Allah. I'm probably saying it wrong. Allah. It's probably more right. Allah. Now, what does Allah mean in Arabic? It means God. So when people say crazy things like, Muslims don't believe in God, they believe in Allah. It would be like someone who says, you know what? Mexicans don't believe in God, they believe in Dios. It's just the translation, okay? And they do believe Allah is the proper name, but it basically means the same thing. It means God. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, that is the first one, which I think is very similar to the first commandment. It's my opinion. All right? So, that's the first pillar of Islam is faith. Next one is prayer. So, Muslims believe that you should pray 5 times a day. They're strict on this. So 5 times a day. We can look them up if you want to. You can look it up online. There are times to pray today. Literally to the minute when you are supposed to pray 5 times today and every day. They're online, my friends. One of them looks them up. That's when he prays. Now, if he has class or something, he's a student at Metropolitan State, he might have to pray after class is done. He might miss his time by 20 minutes. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, how strict are people? Depends where you live. If you live in a majority Muslim country, a place like Iran, Saudi Arabia, you might be able to pray every time 5 times a day because there's a call to prayer. Basically, someone goes up top of the mosque, they get a microphone, they sing, and everyone's supposed to pray for a few minutes. And then when you're done, get back to work. That's harder in the United States, where the majority are not Muslims. You actually have to look it up, find it, maybe go with your community. We had a student in the last class who said he goes to the gym and works out, and some of the Muslims who work out and not just happen to work in that area, they'll leave, go pray for a few minutes, then come back and start working out again. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah.
So it's 5 times a day. I have 2 really good friends who are Muslims. One prays 5 times a day as much as he can, very strict about it. The other one, I'll be honest, I don't know if he's ever prayed 5 times in a day. Okay? It's kind of like Christianity here, where there are Christians who go to church every Sunday, and there are your super Catholics who, if there's a 6 o'clock in the morning Sunday service, they are there in the front row, and they're there half an hour early. Anybody know anybody like that?
Yeah. That's my mom.
These are the people who are like, the early service is more holy. No, it's not. But they almost like the earlier I go, the more holy it is. Anybody know something like that?
That's my mom.
All right, did you go to the 10 o'clock service? No, you're just lazy. Anyway, there are Muslims who are super strict 5 times a day. They pray every day. And there are Muslims who pray 5 times a year. And they call themselves Muslims. There are Christians who go to church every Sunday, and there are Christians who go on Easter and Christmas.
That's me.
So, does that make sense? So, don't put all Muslims in one group. There are a billion of them. More than a billion of them. They don't get lumped all together. All right? Yes, unnamed student.
Are there more Muslims than Christians? Because I heard.
No, not now. But if current population trends continue, there will be in the future.
Isn't there like 2.7 billion?
Now there's like 2 billion something Christians, 1.5 billion Muslims, but the trend is that Muslims are growing faster than Christians.
But Christians.
So Christians still have more. We'll see if that continues or not, but things change in history. So, that's prayer. Now zakat. Zakat is giving zakat. This one's probably the simplest to define because it is just you are supposed to give to the poor. It's a requirement of the faith. You are supposed to give to the poor. If you make more, you're supposed to give more.
I actually like that.
So that is a requirement of the faith. Now this next one is probably the hardest one, the fast, also called Ramadan.
Oh, yeah.
Ramadan makes our Lent look weak, is all I'll say. Ramadan is you are not to eat or drink anything from sunrise to sunset.
Whoa.
Pretty hardcore. Now, it also, they go by a calendar that's different than ours. It goes by the moon. I'm not going to explain how that works because I don't know. And it changes. Like it goes back 11 days every year. So some years Ramadan is in December. Well, in Minnesota, that's not a big thing. That's like, all right, cool. I just don't have to eat from like 8 to 4.
It's true.
Lately, it's been in June and July.
Ooh.
Sunrise to sunset.
Oh, you suck.
So think about that. I have a barbecue every 4th of July at my house, and I invite my friends over who are Muslims, and I feel bad because I'm there grilling, making all this food and everything. Hey, thanks for coming, guys. I guess you get to eat in 5 hours.
That sucks.
So I have to fire the grill up again around 9 o'clock and make some food for them. Anyway, so that's generally the way it goes. I feel kind of bad, you know. Actually, I feel bad while I'm making fun of them. Anyway, so, especially my one friend. Yeah. Anyway, so fast, that's Ramadan, and it unites the community though, because how do they do this? Well, in the morning time, you have a big meal with your family, possibly your extended family and friends.
Like,
And you all
big
eat, yeah, you eat as much as you eat a lot. I'll eat as much as I could. And you eat and you drink a lot of water, especially the water part's important because you got to make it through the day. And then when Ramadan ends, it's like every day, it's kind of like it's a get together. You all get to break your fast, you get to eat together. It brings the community together for 1 month during the year. Why else is Ramadan done?
It's a full month.
It's a full month. It also is supposed to bring you closer to God because you realize you should be thankful for what you have, and nothing makes you thankful for what you have than when you don't
Have it.
have it. Those of you who lost your smartphones know this.
Yup. Yup.
You lose your smartphone for a day or two and you're like, I can't go on Facebook. Anyway, but seriously, when you can't go without food, or you go without water, it makes you feel thankful to God for what you have. Also, what it does, it makes you think about zakat, giving. That there are people in the world who don't have food, who don't have water, and you are supposed to be more giving during Ramadan. Is this making sense? All right, let's move on to the last one, which is the Hajj. The Hajj. Yes, it's spelled right. The Hajj is if you can. If you can and you can afford it, you're supposed to go to the holy city of Mecca once in your life. You're supposed to go to the holy city of Mecca once in your life. I'm going to give you a ridiculously simple explanation of this. Mecca, here's the center of it, this black box called the Kaaba.
Kebab.
Kaaba, K-A-A apostrophe V-A. The Kaaba is, this is a holy site. Basically, when Mecca had this revelation, said there was one God, people went against him, there was a war fought, and he and his followers won. They destroyed the idols that were for the polytheistic or the many gods, and this is where they were destroyed, and this is where people now pray.
What do you mean destroyed? Like killed?
Like the idols, like in the Bible, like idols of different gods were destroyed. And this is where Mecca said no. And basically it's kind of the foundation, the first pillar of Islam. There is only one God, and they come together to pray in one place. They're not praying to the box. Okay? They're not praying towards the box. They're coming together to unify, to all pray in one place.
So basically,
Just like when they pray 5 times a day at the same time, so you are praying together. A tiny little bit what our examen is like. Where you're all supposed to pray at the same time. Why is this done? Because sometimes we're lazy. And sometimes if we're not told to pray 5 times a day, we stop praying. How many people in here think they don't pray enough? I don't. So I would like to say, yeah, I know when to pray, I can do it, but I almost have to schedule it myself. I have to be like every morning, pray. And I almost have to write down what to pray about, otherwise I don't do it. Go for it.
So is there stuff inside that box?
Yeah, there's people who say it has to do with, original art. I've heard tons of things of what are inside there. I've never been inside of there, I don't have the information. If anybody's watched on YouTube and wants to add it to comments, you can do that. Anyway, for internet watchers. But, I'm not gonna give you what's in the box, because I'll be honest, I don't know. Anyway, go for it.
You gotta be Muslim to go there?
Yes, you're supposed to be Muslim. Do some people go in there who aren't? Yes, there's been reporters and journalists who've done it. My personal opinion is, if people of a religion say you have to be a religion to go in, I'm like, okay, whatever. That's your rules, I respect your faith, that's yours. All right, go for it.
That's what they do in circles, right?
Yep, they go around in circles, and there's a number of circles they're supposed to do. There's prayers they're supposed to say, and it's to bring everyone together. I had one friend who's done this. He said it was the most amazing experience ever, because you have people who are millionaires next to people who are dirt poor. And everyone has to wear basically like a sheet and be brought to having nothing with them. And they all sleep together around the same place and everything. Everyone is equal when they're there.
So is there like a certain time people go, or is it just whenever you want?
It can be whenever you want. Ramadan is usually pretty packed. The whole year, times of the year, there's more people, but it's always, there's people there because there's over 1 billion Muslims. And you just do the math on that, and one person, it's always packed. So,
So isn't it basically like not making fun of, but showing, like, rubbing it in their face that they believe in one God, so that they have the remains in the center?
well, it's basically the spot where this is where Muhammad said there's only one God, which is our most important pillar of Islam. We're going to remember that.
And then they put the remains of the other idols.
And again, I don't know what's in the box right now. I just don't know. I'm not going to make it up. I don't know what's there. And again, if someone wants to email me something saying what it is, cool, I'll read it. Does that make sense? I didn't prepare it, so I'm not going to lie. All right, so that is where we are right now. Let me pause this real quick.